went through, the Britney Spears and the Madonnas and all this to be where they are. No, that we all got monarched, period. And we were turned into the little metal centipede looking thing. Now that isn't exactly how it played out, but in a symbolic way, because it's all symbology. Because even in that video you were covering the other night that got turned off, you brought up the fact that they're talking about the Kundalini. Okay, there's
Yeah.
okay, so they're just like in the movies, just like in the music, they're telling you what's going on
Yeah,
or
exactly.
what has gone on. It's up to us, and this is where the consciousness comes in and discernment and all this other word salad that's out there, right?
Right.
It's just a big puzzle. Can you put the puzzle pieces together? Now, it's the way I explain it is the reason the truth is so hard to find because if every single person walking this planet right now were to know the God's honest truth as to what happened to us and who did it and how they did it, people would be taking up arms and killing off lots of people, period. You see the world around you now. People are pulling guns just for a Good Friday sale or a Black Friday sale, right? We are, when the Bible talks about the rise of the Antichrist, okay, there probably was at one time an individual that rose during this time and took it all over. But in this realm, going backwards, we are the Antichrist. We're the ones without conscience. So the rising of the Antichrist to me is the same thing as what's written about in the Hopi prophecies about ascension. And in the Colburn Bible, um, the beast, as it's referred to, is actually Mother Earth. See, it's all written from a certain perspective. Because to me, the Bible is nothing more than more reference material that was twisted into a religion that preyed on people's beliefs because your belief is how you create,
We
right?
all have beliefs, though. I mean,
Yes,
people,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. We
we will
all do,
go
yeah.
100%. We tend to do that. Let's say somebody who's into veganism, it becomes, a worldview.
Yes, yes,
Christian, all look, I work in healthcare. It's corrupted because
yeah.
you have people that are not perfect, right? So they bring their own corruption there. So I can't say, oh, you know what? Look at the healthcare. There's corruption in there. We should get rid of it completely. The Jews were never said to be above anyone. He took those people and he set them aside. He called them his people. And he also said, through these people, they will be a light
Okay,
on.
no, no, no. Okay, let's stop right there. I hate to interrupt you, but
Go ahead.
okay, he set them aside. Those are his people. So who do the Rothschilds belong to then? Who do the Rockefellers belong to then? Because those are his people.
So
There's see,
all I know is if he chooses any group of people, they will be corrupt. The Jews all throughout the Old Testament were screwing up and getting sent into slavery by God, allowing evil other people that had nothing to do with him, and he said go put them into exile. So the point of these people wasn't that they were holier or better. I don't know from here what they arrived. I definitely don't play along the lines that Jewish people, if there's an aspect of them that are Zionists that are ruling, fine, okay, but that has nothing to do with the story in the Bible. All those Jews were set apart just basically so that there would be patriarchs, prophets, and that they could create a narrative where there's full of prophecies that were accomplished. And that's why the Bible, in my opinion, has authority, because it was able to write things ahead of time. That's the only reason that I give validity to the Bible, because it's written down stuff that has been accomplished. Right now, we see things that were written thousands of years ago. I find it's just very easy to say, it was corrupted, because I've spent a long time, and I haven't been a Christian for a long time. I did all the other searches, and I, I don't see any contradictions. It's simple. God created a heavenly realm, the sons of God, and he wanted to extend his family by creating beings that are on earth. So there was a rebellion that occurred. Man, as well as all of creation, has fallen. We see that. And there's somebody that asked, well, if there was a God, he would have fixed it by then. Let me just kind of look through what people have been saying. So
Yeah, while you're doing that, I'll just want to give a shout out to some people like Zen, Gretchen, Raven, Vivid, Lizzo. All these names are familiar. See them all the time. Mark Basket's there.
Here's a good one. Malcolm Sheen. I saw this one about the Spanish flu. That it was actually, they had gotten a whole slew of happy, healthy medicine before going to war. And all of these people supposedly came back with bacterial pneumonias that killed them. So, and this was called the Spanish flu.
But well, what if I told you that we had a COVID outbreak clear back in 2012?
Anything's possible at this time.
Yeah, it happened. It happened amongst our military in the Middle East. Not too many people know that.
Here's another one. This is the one I wanted to mention. Lizzo French. Creator God must be locked out from us, or he would save the children by now. So it's like, well, he has his own timeline, and if we look at the promise of what will happen in the end, what's the end of the story, at least from a Christian perspective, okay? We were in paradise. Now there's paradise lost. Now we're in a fallen world. Supposedly Christianity believes that the word was made flesh and accomplished what we could not accomplish, and it's a free gift. Where does he want to take us? This is a new heaven and a new earth. And the passage says, then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first earth and the first heaven had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride, beautifully dressed for her husband. It's almost done. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, look, God's dwelling place is now among people, and he will dwell with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the older order of things has passed away. So he who sits on the throne said, I am making everything new. Then he said, write this down, blah, blah, blah. So this is where God wants to take us, at least from a Christian perspective. Back to the garden. There's a process that needs to be done. It's back
to reality where everything is
no, if this is restored. It's just saying, look, there is a creator of this simulation, and he's going to reboot it, and he's going to win and get us exactly where he intended us to be. But we are not automaton robots, so he has to work through it for us. It's kind of like a parachute, right? I can read up everything about parachuting. I can do, know everything about it, but unless I jump out of the airplane, then I know what parachuting is.
Oh, and I'm glad you brought that up, because that is exactly why we are here.
Well, let's say just
because we have to live. Okay, when this happened to us, we were very small consciousness. We were children.
Just give me a second, just to finish though.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm saying is, the minute that in a way, Adam and Eve, they were innocent. They weren't knowledgeable. They were like children. In a way.
Yeah.
They had a connection with God, okay, at that point. But like you said, they were innocent. The minute they ate the knowledge of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, it was in the center, just like a parachute. You want to know what evil is? You want to know what good and evil is? You will experience. That's why they were thrown out of the garden, because it was like, now you will know the difference between good and evil, but experientially. You will experience. You'll have evil within you. You'll do evil things. You'll have evil done on you. You'll good things will happen. And this is us eating and then experientially what's up? Are you trying to call, Pat?
I think he's on the phone, but hey, Christos, I see you joined us. Welcome.
But I truly think that if you look at what we're doing now, our conversation, well, first of all, we look at people what they do, so we can judge people by their actions. We can see it's like, oh
Right.
wow, he did that. I know where his mind and heart is. But if I'm talking to you and you leave here and say, oh yeah, I met Jason. What did you meet? You met my words. The majority of what you know about me is my word, and my
Right.
word reveals my heart and my mind. And so we have a threefold unity in ourselves: body, mind, soul. There's really a triune aspect to even creation, future, past, present, length, width, height. Everything is triune in one respect. So
Yes.
God
Yeah.
wants to reach out. Some God that's way past creation. Okay, this is some unknown aspect of him, but he's trying to reach out to creation. He doesn't want to be a far off God. So the way that he will reach out is through his word that reveals his heart, and through his spirit, because it says only the spirit of man knows the mind of a man. That's one of the passages in it. So I
Right.
feel that this triune aspect of God that I used to think was pagan, I think that it's just a natural thing. You are experiencing me. You'll never know my essence. I'll never know your essence. Yet we sit here and we communicate and share each other, and you get to know me, and vice versa, through my mind and my heart. That's why it's God will reach out and bring forth from his essence the word and the spirit. And that's his mind, and this is his intent, his desire, and his heart. And he said that he created through the word. And that's why I'm saying when he comes back, he came back at a certain amount, a certain time. He accomplished things that were written thousands of years. That's what gives validity, in my opinion, to the Bible compared to others. Is that what a magnificent ruse that they were able to do. If they were able to pull off a historical guy that managed to accomplish all of these things, okay, and then after I look at the Shroud of Turin that science cannot explain, the only reason I can see that there is a image of this man just on the surface is there was an extreme amount of light that happened on that shroud. I think that it proves that there was a historical man with all of the wounds that Christ was said to have in the gospel. Science cannot explain it. Until science can explain it, that is a huge piece for Christianity, saying we can't explain this shroud. The shroud is literally an image of the story of the gospel. And I think that through this, there was a correction that was made. And he says that he comes back as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. He comes back again. First, he had to pay the price. That's Isaiah 53. That's over a millennia before. I could read this, and it is literally an image of Christ being crucified and being resurrected. You add the shroud, and then after you add the promise of people cannot judge God from the horrors that they're seeing now. There is a promise. Now, is this not real or not? I don't know, but it gives validity if everything else has been accomplished. Tons of prophecies have been accomplished. That's what gives validity to the book. And we should take it, in my opinion, because I'm a Christian, obviously I'm biased here,
Right.
very, very seriously. And I have worked through what I thought were a lot of things that didn't make sense. I thought that he was an idiot for flooding the earth. Why would he flood the earth? Why would he create all this and then flood the earth? I didn't know about the genetic manipulation. I didn't realize when I read that Noah was perfect in his generation. When you look up in Blue Letter Bible with the Strong Concordance, it says also that it could be genealogy. So that makes sense because he wasn't perfect, but he was untainted. So I'm like, wow, okay, the flood.
But see, you got to remember, we were made perfect. So if Moses was no longer perfect,
Exactly, I agree.
then he was also tampered with, and he also had a name. When David took out Goliath,
Yeah.
Goliath wasn't the name of the guy he took out. It was just a name given to a group of people who were giants. Now, the thing about that is,
Well, where do you find that though? Because Goliath, it says in the Bible that he had 5 brothers. That was his name. They said he was a remnant of the Nephilim. When you look at, the
right, part of the whole remnant church, which we all are, because it was all destroyed. So when the way I look at it, this is where the symbolism of Frankenstein comes in. All that was left good out of creation that wasn't destroyed was put here under the firmament, the dome, whatever you want to call it, to regrow it. It's a hodgepodge. And since the last will be first and the first will be last, this was the first body we were turned in through DNA manipulation. So it'll be the last body we inhabit. Now, the cool thing about that is you also brought up the 3 sections, body, mind, and soul. I believe they're also controlled by the 3 brains we have, because you have a brain in your mind. There's the mind up here, and that controls the body or the mind. The body is going to be your heart, and the soul is your gut. You have a brain in all 3 places, and it's your gut instinct. I've lived a lot of years. I'm pushing 60 years old, and I've seen a lot of things. And every time I've gone against my gut instinct, I have paid the price.
It's funny, serotonin that the brain uses. Did you know that it's created in the gut?
Oh yeah. In fact, okay, disease, like let's say cancer. Okay. I really frown on these places that say, we're doing cancer research and we're going to try and get rid of cancer. So give us your money, because cancer is actually tied up into 2 chromosomes that live within our DNA, chromosome 8. Just give them a look. So everybody is born with cancer. Now, what makes it manifest is disease, your body not being at ease. Okay. And part of that also has to do with the poisons that are in the food, because just like you have
everywhere,
plastics, yeah, and it gets in. So just like there's good cholesterol and bad cholesterol, okay, you have enzymes in your gut, and there's good enzymes and there's bad enzymes. We usually get the bad enzymes from all our processed food. Well, if you eat a ton of processed food, pretty soon you're going to wind up with that tire around your belly that 95% of all the world has, because none of their guts are healthy. The only way that you can rid that, and a lot of people are keying in on this. You go through the different esoteric groups, truther groups. It doesn't matter what groups of people you're going through right now. Everybody is understanding about detoxing and cleansing. So once you cleanse and bring your stomach out of the abyss that it's in with all the bad bacteria that's in there, you will find that you can actually eat less as long as you're eating healthy, because your body is going to make more use of the minerals and vitamins and stuff that's in the food, because it can properly digest it.
My YouTube channel used to be Fast Keto Prime. I'm a huge advocate of fasting. I have some videos, for example, dementia. I mean, it used to be that societies were founded this way. They ate very specific diets. This is from Nutrition and Physical Degeneration. Right. Women had, actually, there was a lot of organ meats. There was a specific amount of specific foods that the women, and they also spaced it out. Those women and young men that had the babies, yes, they would be part of the family, but what would happen is the teaching of those that generation was done by the elders primarily, while the youngers that just mated would go out and learn their trades, whether it's the things the men did, or if it was a female, things the female did. But right. The treasure trove of wisdom and experience was done by the elderly, and they weren't getting dementia and losing their damn minds. They have this
Right.
medication. It's a powder. It's called Exona for dementia patients. It's ketones. You can get these things, but they prescribe it. So they're making money on Alzheimer
Yes.
patients.
Yes.
There's two problems with dementia or Alzheimer's. There's these glycated beta amyloid proteins that embed themselves into the brain and destroy the brain, and the brain has insulin resistance. So the fact that sugar is being ingested but cannot penetrate the brain cells to activate energy. Now, that causes also the decline. So ketones can penetrate the mind and fuel it. So if you would induce ketosis in Alzheimer patients, allowing them to also, once they're in ketosis, to go and fast, extended fast. If I got the dementia out of desperation, I say, screw this. I am fasting and until I can't fast no more. Because
Right.
you have the autophagy, the autophagy that is activated. And once you're not in an anabolic state, we're so afraid of catabolic processes. We always need to balance two systems. We need to, at one point, stop with this anabolic obsession, allow catabolic processes to activate autophagy, which is a cleansing and healing process. I believe that it would go after, if it's extended enough, that would go after those proteins, because that's food. And it also stresses the body, where apoptosis, those cells that are pre-programmed to die, under the stress of the fasting, you get a massive amount of cell death, which actually creates more stem cell surges. So I mean, I think that
Right. Basically, you're trying to heal a body that was never meant to be.
Well, I mean, ideally,
I'm just saying. I'm just saying, because you asked the question earlier about, what's in store for humanity. What's the next step? I tell everybody, humans are going to go extinct because they were never meant to be. And the funny thing is when everything gets restored and goes back to how it's supposed to be, just like the current Mandela effects that everybody are talking about. See, and that's what brings on the Mandela.
Just one second. I'm really rude to disturb. Pat, why don't you let Garland Farms in? I see him in the chat. Can you let Garland Farms in, please? Go ahead, sir.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, fine. And while we have this little lull, I would just want to say hi to Freedom Grower. He's stepped into the room, and I want to say hi to Ryan. I think they're the newest ones that have come in, because Ryan and Freedom I know pretty well. I gotta say hi to them.
Pat,
but anyway, that gets back to the whole human thing. I tell everybody, it's just like the Mandela effects. Okay, so everybody's talking about Mandela effects this, Mandela effects that.
I'll be back.
Can you let Garland Farms in? Patrick.
Yes, all he has to do is click the link.
Okay, is the link way up there, or post a new link that's like closer, please? Because I'm trying to find the link. It's like super high somewhere. Okay, so you think that, like, because I'm obviously from the thing that we were created for a very specific thing. God wanted to create an earthly family, in the image of God. We are fallen. There's a savior that worked this out. And now is basically,
I think that's what the whole
but you were saying, like, we're not supposed to be created. Like, I just want to understand.
Well, no, we're not as humans.
Okay, so what are we supposed to be?
We're mankind, not humans. Like I said, when Neil Armstrong stepped foot on the supposed moon, it was done for mankind, not the human race. Did he say humans? No. Nowhere in there did they mention humans, humanity, or the human race.
So where do you see the difference? Like, I'm not challenging you. I just want to understand, like, where are you getting that mankind and then something, it's bad when he says human? I'm not catching.
Well, because to me, humans, what you see in the mirror every day isn't what we were created as in the beginning. We were
True.
turned into humans through the DNA tampering. We talked about that.
Okay, so you think that the initial DNA tampering from the Nephilim, that we're still affected by that? That's kind of where you're getting that?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Well, I mean, it's quite possible because it says that there were Nephilim before the flood and somehow after the flood. So
Yeah,
it
and
doesn't really
what if
explain.
the Great Flood was nothing more than the Earth being turned on its head?
I don't know. Like I see, because I've checked a lot of, the archaeological evidence of the flood. I mean, the amount of organic matter that's underneath that's been turned to oil and coal and stuff like that it just shows that at one point there was, so much, like the whole earth basically, covered over with dirt and stuff like that. And you got those, those huge rips. It's like, it looks like a baseball tear. It says that it often talks about the rain, but it doesn't. It says the fountains of the deep broke open.
Yeah, all the oceans spilled over because the Earth got turned over on its head. In fact, if you get on Google Earth and look at the Gulf of Mexico,
Okay.
that little peninsula down there where it narrows going into South America, on the east side of that is where there was an impact, and the impact was so great that you can go look on the other side of the Earth,
Yeah.
a whole 180 degrees, and you have the Himalayas and Mount Everest, which is the highest point on Earth. That's how great that impact was.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what broke the North American craton, and that's what gave us all our rivers. Because you can go and do a Google search on the watersheds of the United States, and it'll bring them up and it'll highlight them in different colors as to which region they're in. And I spent 30 years working on fiberglass and gel coat, and I can recognize a fracture when I see one. Okay, so that impact there was so great, it fractured that plate and pushed the mountains up on the other side.
Yeah,
Now I don't know which one tipped us over, if it was the one up in Greenland or if there was one down, because see, there again, we live in an inverted world. So when I see things, Antarctica is actually in the north, and actually, if you want to know north, it's straight up in the air, right? Because it's a flat surface. So the north is straight up in the air. Okay, that's just like I don't believe gravity is some kind of force that holds us to this plane. Okay, it's more like going again back to the Hopi prophecies of ascension. We have been ascending for some time. We're moving in an upward manner. So it's the force pushing down on us as we move up. That's what gravity is. It's a downward force on us, not something that's being pulled from the earth. That's just my opinion.
Sure.
Like I said, I see things trust me, I didn't always think this way. When I was raising kids, coming out of school, and I was all into the shuttle launches, and I'm pretty sure I thought for certain we lived on a globe, and I believed all the lies that they told me right up until a certain point. Then a message came to me and I had to start looking. And
Pat, like it would be interesting to have Scott on my live stream. I don't know if you'd be willing. I don't want to stop your live stream, but I wanted to do the live stream with Pat and JD on my channel. We're gonna watch a flat Earth documentary and comment on that. Did you want to go for another half hour here and maybe jump on mine, Pat, or did you want to continue long? I don't know if he's here.
I wasn't too sure I'd be able to answer that in a few minutes.
Yeah, because I don't want to,
Yeah, I mean, if you guys have something planned, I don't want to get in the middle of that.
well, no, but if you're, because you seem to talk a little bit like about flat Earth, right?
Yeah, and I can even tell you where it is too. But see, the thing is I know lots of things. I no longer believe or disbelieve. It's either I know it or I don't know it.
Yeah, we're
And
trying
this,
to put things together.
yeah, and the stuff that I know that I've seen with my own eyes is I can take. In fact, OTW has one on his computer. He's got the, I'm pretty sure, the same flat Earth map that I'm using, and I can actually pixelate it and lock it in a given position on Comet 67P. See, if you look up Comet 67P, that's where they sent the Rosetta probe. Okay, and we have the Rosetta Stone down here. They know way more about that comet than any other comet out there. Trust me. They can write books about 67P. It's very, very well known. Now, how did they get it very, very well known? And that's like the Ark of the Covenant. Okay, oh man, there's so much here. The giants. Okay, so in the Bible, it talks about we are but pebbles on a beach. That's literally how big we are. We're very, very, very small. How does an oyster make a pearl from a single grain of sand when it lives at depths where there's no light? Because the sand itself contains the light inside of it that it needs to grow. Because part of our body is the sand. I'm pretty sure that carbon based is not exactly how we were meant to be. It was supposed to probably be a mixture of carbon and silicate. That's why silicone.
What do you
That's
say?
why.
What do you think about the resurrection from a Christian perspective? You end up having the resurrection of the dead and these new bodies that are, they seem corporeal.
Yeah, that happened, and that happens. Okay, so when you track back through time, and okay, if you just look at history and forget all the his story part of it and all the lies and everything, all these civilizations just seem to rise and fall at the drop of a hat, don't they?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happens during these resets. We are just cruising right along, and boom, there's a reset. All the earth changes because everything goes back into the earth, right? And then the new bodies arise. Our consciousness, we are eternal beings. That's why we are still here today after everything has been destroyed. We're still here. Through all these cataclysms that killed everything off, we're still here because we are the eternal beings. We just rise back up out of the earth because everything is energy, right?
Yeah.
So, and it just it's like the ultimate magic trick. It's not sleight of hand, it's God's work. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I agree with that.
So each of the resets that we go through here, entire civilizations disappear and people are resurrected out of the grave, out of the ground, whatever you want to call it. They're resurrected, and we live another life on. Now down here in this realm, and this is the other thing I tell people, the old expression is as above, so below. And when people die, they want to get up to heaven. Well, guess what? That means you still live in hell or an under realm. Let's just put it that way.
Because the word hell, every single one, I don't like the word hell because
No.
Jesus, when he said hell 11 times, it was Gehenna. And Gehenna, he was using it metaphorically. It was a burning dump with worms and trash. So he was just basically, saying, better this than being tossed into Gehenna. Then after you have Hades. Well, Hades is because, there was Greek, the Greek was the language, and Sheol is the Hebrew version of the underworld. So Hades, when they talk about Hades and they talk about Sheol and they use the word hell, it gives a connotation of fire and brimstone, when in reality it's just the common grave. I'm just talking about like the words, the vocabulary.
Right.
There's Tartarus. Tartarus is where those angels, you see the Greeks, they said the Titans were imprisoned there. So Tartarus is, but they'll say hell, 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 hell on everything. And
yeah, and I'm so glad you mentioned the Titans.
Not a good translation.
Because we are the Titans. That's the name that's floating out there that's been designated to who we really were, are the Titans. In fact, I did a video, I don't know, it's maybe a week or two now. I don't know. I lose track of time. But they're talking about these two converging black holes that are in the universe. Have you heard anything about that?
No.
Okay, now they're both spinning in different directions. So to me, one's an upper, one's a lower, just like we live in the lower realm right now. Okay. And oddly enough, in the headline, it says the clash of the Titans, meaning these two super black holes coming together. Now, if you look at a black hole, it's shaped like a funnel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and if you have one that's is flat with the funnel going down, and then you have one that is spinning backwards, it's inverted like we are. So it's flat with the funnel part going up. Now, if you join those two together, you get something that looks like an hourglass. And it makes me think of an old TV program. I think it was The Days of Our Lives, where it talks about like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives. Because again, we are the sand. That's why sand is everywhere, and it's piled up in certain areas. I mean, if you look at things happening today, right now, lots of people are flocking towards Florida because of the way they're doing things down there with the government. But so if that happened in the past, that explains why there's all of Florida is made out of sand. There's actually isotopes in the ground over in India that the only way you can get those in the ground is from a nuclear explosion. So there's been nuclear wars on this planet in the past, and it's embedded in the isotopes. And that's why there's great big huge piles of sand there. There was probably a lot of people there when that happened. Because there again, we don't live on the surface. I think we live down below. And quite honestly, the magnetosphere that everybody is tracking and the North Pole is on the move, I think we create those energies. They're created by us. And the reason that the poles are on the move is because that Son of Man, SUN, it's probably one of the same pair that are in the Hopi prophecies, the blue and red Kachina.
What do you mean though when you're saying like a SUN, the Son of Man?
Well, because the Bible has a designated SON, the Son of Man, as the return of Jesus.
Yes.
Okay, and this isn't our normal sun. It's the SUN of man, the sun that actually belongs to us, that we were disconnected from. The same time that the earth got knocked on its head. All we did was just, when, and I don't know which came first, it gets back to which came first, the chicken or the egg. I don't know if we got flipped on our heads and then all the tainting took place, or if we got tainted and then the earth got knocked on its head. I'm pretty sure we got tainted and then the earth got knocked on its head is how that goes. But there again, you can't prove any of that stuff. So it's just, it's word salad, but there are certain things that took place and led to where we are today. And so now that's what all the different cycles are down under the dome, the firmament, whatever you want to call it. This will be the 6th cycle, and 6 is the number of man. not human. We go back to being the way we were originally created. And the earth will go back to the way it was originally created. And we don't have to eat anything that it produces. We are energy beings. Because
well,
when you eat,
interesting because it's definitely when we were at the start biblically, animals weren't eating animals. It was pretty much eating fruit, and that's exactly what happens in the new heaven and the new earth also.
yeah.
So,
But see there again, I don't think we ever had to eat anything, because if you eat, that means you got to have something coming out the other end. And I don't believe in sewage systems, none of this stuff. None of this stuff in this world that you see today was ever meant to be this way. The only reason we have cars to get around is because in our natural form, being energy beings, everybody knows about the ley lines that go around the earth. Well, they're energetic fields. And if you're an energy being, all you got to do is jump into an energy field and you can move. And we probably don't even touch the ground. We probably hover just above it.
well, I agree. I agree with that. I mean, Jesus has his resurrection body. He seemed to be able to. Seemed like he had physicality, but he also was zipping and zooming around, appearing.
Yes. Yeah.
I imagine also being able to be in the new heaven and new earth. Obviously, there's not going to be cars and roads and trains. We're going to be able to think of an area, I think, and just go visit everything.
Yeah. Oh, most definitely. Yeah. In fact, these little panels.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. These little panels, all we have to do is either at the speed of light, I'm guessing, move to one location, or I could just stand here and this is where you get into astral projection. I could astral project myself right into somebody's living room and have a conversation with them. The only problem with astral projection is you don't have a physical involvement. It's just an energy thing.
Yeah, my wife does that she doesn't want to do that, but she's.
But see, those are natural abilities that we have, that we can call on at will to do what we need to do.
Yeah, people can definitely learn how to do that. My wife once, when my son Josiah was a baby in the crib, she astral, like we had our bedroom, and his was just on the other side of the wall. There was a mirror on facing that wall. She said that she popped out of her body. And she never realizes that, she thinks it's a dream, and she looks and she sees herself sleeping and me. And then all of a sudden she hears Josiah struggling to breathe. She kind of gets sucked through the mirror, and all of a sudden she's trying to scream, but it's baby sounds. It's as if she went there. She woke and Josiah was getting smothered. So that was definitely even those kind of abilities. It was
see, now in this realm, see, the problem is with going backwards to correct timelines. That's one of the reasons we don't have our powers going back, is because we potentially could be doing serious damage to our own future timelines if we thought this was real and was going to try to fix it. See what I'm saying?
Imagine if we could manifest everything we wanted. I mean, it'd be horrible.
Especially with some of the minds that are walking the planet.
I think it's good that we can manifest, I guess, through our actions, but just imagine our thoughts.
But see, and there again, that's where intent comes in. And here's the thing: is that if you're a good person and you're doing things out of love is the strongest power in the universe. It conquers all. That's why we are still alive. We are love.
The Bible says that. It says in the end, love wins.
Yeah, exactly. And it already won. Because everybody thinks there's this big war going on. The war ended. Okay, everything got destroyed. Love won. The war ended. Now we've got to go back to the beginning, to where the mess started. So, we can't really fix any of this. Otherwise, we would have had free energy a long time ago, and people would be perfectly content living in a version of hell, right? So we don't want that.
Man alone will never create a utopia. It'll always turn into a dystopia.
Humans, yes, humans, because we have that negative entity that lives inside of us.
Yeah, we're evil.
John.
Yeah.
John, are you the only Christian on here? I'm just curious. Scott, are you Christian?
I was at one point, and then I quit.
I'm currently 100% Christian.
Garland Farms, are you Christian?
I am I'm Christian, but I'm not any type of Christian that I'm not part of the no organized religion do I subscribe to.
Okay, I hear you. Now, John, you said you're 100% a Christian, like right now. Does that mean like you're open to possibly changing? Just the way you phrased that made it sound like you said currently you're a Christian.
Yeah, I'm a new Christian in respect that I think it's been a little bit more than 3 years. I was a seeker before. You know, I always believed in God. Didn't question evolution. Didn't really question anything. I had kind of like my own idea of God, and I felt that God worked in my life. I tried a lot of the Eastern, religion, Buddhism, Tao Te Ching, and stuff like that. I think that especially Buddhism, psychologically as a philosophy, is great. But the more I hovered around Christianity, and I was like, this Trinity is pagan. I went through the whole doubts and criticisms, and but the more I started reading the Bible and seeking areas that I thought were weird or contradiction, I found my answers. And finally, out of desperation, it was a hard time in my life. There's been a lot of stuff going on, but I mean, everybody has that. And no, I told God that I'm not comfortable going through this Jesus. I've never done that. But I said, obviously, if this is how you want me to approach you, I'll try it. And things in my life changed. Things that I wasn't able to accomplish before, I saw changes in my life. So for me, it's very real. It's kind of an experience that I have. I do feel the Holy Spirit. If I get involved with a little bit of weed here and there too much, I find I lose the signal. And so I feel it. I feel when it goes. And to me, it's very real. Also, little things that convinced me was before I think you were on, maybe the Shroud of Turin. Got really into that. Very compelling that the Shroud of Turin has the image of a crucified guy with all of the markings, with biological fluid on there, blood, creatinine. But science can't explain how the damn image got on there. And it's just on the surface. So for me, that was before becoming a Christian. I was like, whoa, that's really, compelling. Especially they carbon dated it wrong. Obviously, everyone heard about the carbon dating. Then it was refuted. Multiple other studies have done that say that it's the right time period.
I'm going to pause you right there. Are we talking about the same science that told us that we were going to space?
Look, I'm like Garland. I don't believe that everything's a lie. I believe that they mix.
I'm going to pause you right there.
Lie.
Are we talking about the same science that told us that we were going to space?
Look, I'm like Garland. I don't believe that everything's a lie. I believe that they mix truth and lie. I believe that when you're doing physical science, at least physical science can be corrupt also, and they can, they can deceive us. I'm just saying is we got a piece of material. Science can't. There's no benefit for them to say that because it gives a bit of validity to Christianity. So if they could refute it, damn it, I'm sure that they were. Here he says Jesus was not a Christian. A Christian means to follow Christ. See the trick? Words of Babel spell, but people don't inspect. I don't care what Christianity means. First of all, they were Jewish. Jesus came as the King of the Jews. but through them, it says the prophecy, there will be a light unto the Gentiles. So through the Jews, not the Jewish people, but one Jew accomplished that. And yeah, followers call it Christian. Flat earthers call themselves flat earthers. We all label things. It's just a way of putting a label on something. I don't see the problem with the word Christian. But anyways, yeah, that's how I became a Christian. I don't believe in eternal conscious torment. That was something that made absolutely no sense. And I was overjoyed when I found that there was early church fathers that believed in conditional immortality, so that the soul is not immortal. There's a condition that needs to be met. We are all guilty. And if we don't have Christ, then we will be judged and will cease to exist, pretty much like an atheist. Not saying that's real, but I'm saying that as a Christian, I don't believe in eternal conscious torment. And there is a belief structure within Christianity, always a minority. But when the hell is the majority right? It's always the remnants. It's always the minority. So, anyways, I can't justify Christianity, but I'll definitely defend it. That's for sure. But as you can see, Christian or not, I'll give my opinion, but I'm very open to, I mean, we've been talking about the Matrix and stuff like that. I'm open, and I love theories and things like that. But I'll definitely defend my truth just like anybody here on the panel.
Oh, right. Yeah. We expect nothing less. Because you got
Well
to where
said,
you got to where you are through a process. Everybody goes through the process,
Yeah.
whether it be a death in the family or we all go through things. It's just how we handle them.
Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, there's horrible Christians. There's horrible everything. I mean, a lot of people use like Christians themselves to refute it, and I'm saying Jesus never said that the ones that are spouting that they're Christians are Christians. No one knows who the heart, right? I don't know your heart. I can put up a show,
Right. Right.
stuff. I can be a hypocrite, and people tend to judge that instead of just judge it by the book. And to me, there's, I don't see the Old Testament monster, especially the fact that I know that he took a people, put them aside. They were sinful. They screwed up all the time. They were always doing the wrong things. They had a purpose to set up a book that would be a prophecy to justify the gospel. That's the only point of the Jews. And also the destructive Yahweh in the Old Testament is destroying hybrids. He's destroying Genesis 6, the Nephilim, the giants, the DNA. The flood had to happen to conserve it through Noah.
But hang on, you got to remember, you're only the size of a grain of sand, so every single being is a giant to you right now.
No, giants are the giants, the very tall people. I'm not tall. I just see it as if you look through some of my previous videos, I go into like all of these giant skeleton bones that were found in the early 19th century, and the Smithsonian Museum would collect these, and they've destroyed it. They've destroyed any evidence of large skeletons.
I'll be honest.
Doesn't that raise a flag?
It just sounds like that's the story of the Bible, and we're finding archaeological evidence. That's pretty much how I interpret it, obviously through the lens of Christianity.
So I'll be honest. I'm not here to debate anyone. I'm not here to throw shade or hate on Christianity or anything. But I will say this before I hop off, because I am busy right now. But I just wanted to hop in real quick. I saw OTW live. I just want to say, Jason, that I'll just say, and maybe we could talk about this some other time on OTW stream. He does again, but I'll just say, it just confuses me how like someone basically goes back into religion, and like how one would reconcile all the logistics that one basically runs through as they start to see religion for what it is, as a man-made belief system and control system, and ultimately one of the major institutions of the quote-unquote matrix. I don't understand how someone goes from like a truth seeking, like spiritual person to someone that identifies with a religion. When I thought one of the major parts of like awakening spiritually within yourself and to this world is you see the institutions, you see the control mechanisms for what they are, and that religion is one of those things, and that there's a lot of inconsistencies logically with religion itself, but especially Christianity and the Abrahamic religions in general. So,
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I was on the same side as you. Believe me. I fell back on it through research and it proving it itself. Like I said, explain to me the Shroud of Turin. Explain to me the image that science can't explain. For me, that's a big thing. Falling into religion, like I said, the healthcare system is run by all sorts of people, and you can go to the hospital and receive horrible care. That's because the institution is run by corrupt people. The Bible itself says that there will be corruption, that the institutions corrupt. They say that the church is not built of stone. So I follow the Bible. I'll hang around like-minded people. There's some churches that are completely biblical, and there's some that are insane, and there's some that are horrible. And like I said, name me one structure that humans have touched that is not tainted and corrupted. And if you look at that, you have to say, well, it's corrupted. Should we take away the corrupt healthcare system? Should we take away all of? No, we can't. We have to work within the corruption, unfortunately. And I wouldn't say that I am a mainstream Christian, because if having the idea of eternal conscious torment or conditional immortality, I'm considered the fringe. Talking about the giants, I'm the fringe. So I hang around with like-minded people. I read the Bible. I follow the Bible. I don't follow a church. If I happen to go to a church because I want to be with like-minded people, and it's interesting, just like we do platforms here. It says when one or more people gather, there I am. So, religion might be a man-made structure. We're talking about matrix. We're talking about flat Earth. We're talking about all sorts of man-made theories as well.
Jason, you know what? That's a Mandela effect.
No, I'm just saying.
No, but wait. Just because
these are all musing of men. So if you're going to say Christianity is the musing of men, well, everything else is the musing of men. Gnosticism is the musing of men as well.
Well, no, the truth isn't very musing. The truth is the truth.
Yeah,
right.
Subjective.
And if I can flat out say, yeah, the truth is an actual person. So my worldview is consistent. Is it wrong? Maybe, but no one here can start saying that mine is wrong just because it's older. Judge me by what I say.
Older? What do you mean older?
Well, the Abrahamic religions and stuff like that have been around. So now religion, they're solidified. They're not even considered spiritual. He said, how do you go from a spiritual seeker to somebody for religion?
Okay, but a spiritual seeker is not, it's like you connect that directly to New Age, which is not, it's ancient knowledge. It's not even New Age at all. This is like, it goes all the way back to Sumerian texts, and it predates the Bible.
Well, when I was looking, those Sumerian texts, are very vague, and people make a lot of big theologies around it that are just as unfounded. It's so easy to just go in the past and say, oh, well, you know what, Osiris and this here, that's why Christianity is like that.
But why would we discount like the Sumerian texts or the Dead Sea Scrolls or the Book of Enoch and take the Bible as the number one book?
Because it fulfills prophecy that no other book does.
Well, yeah, but hang on, back up a second. Somewhere in the Old Testament, Satan said he took the seat on high. So all these godly things that you may think are attributed to God are actually being attributed to Satan.
Okay,
he took the place on high.
Is not in the Bible.
Pardon?
Pop it up and read what you just said. Show me the quote, because I know it's not in the Bible, the quote that you just said.
Oh, I'd have to dig it out. That goes back like 10 years or so where I read that.
You can pop it up without us seeing. You can pop up the quote. You just write it Bible verse. Show me where it says that.
Why I can't do anything. I'm on my phone.
Okay, because I'll challenge
I
you on that.
don't have a laptop or anything like that here. I just have my phone. So I can't even like show you, I can't even show you like research that I have sitting in my phone to verify certain things because it's in my phone and I can't get it.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Hey, I'm gonna get off here. Much peace and love to all you guys. OTW.
Hey, buddy. Have a
Yeah,
good
I'm
one.
gonna jump off too because my phone's about to die. I'm kind of surprised it's still hanging on.